I'm Angie Schlotzauer. This is my audience. All right. And thanks for listening to my speech on why you should compost. So think about the amount of organic waste that your household produces any given day. So the carrot peels, the eggshells from breakfast, that salad that got kind of slimy in the back of the fridge. And then imagine that multiplied by the hundreds of millions of households in the U.S. every day. Imagine all of that waste piled up in a landfill, and then you'll see the necessity of composting. So composting is easy, and it's so good for the environment. So we'll discuss three things: the problems with conventional methods for disposing of organic waste. We'll discuss why compost is the solution, and then added benefits of compost. So, problems of disposing of kitchen scraps and lawn waste. The first conventional method is landfills. The EPA estimates that yard trimmings and food scraps by themselves constitute 24% of U.S. municipal solid waste. So almost 1/4 of the garbage in landfills does not need to be there, taking up space and producing methane. The second conventional method, at least for lawn scraps, is burning. But the Department of Natural Resources says that pollutes air, it's a fire hazard, and it's a nuisance to neighbors. Such a nuisance, in fact, that it's banned in most communities. And then there are garbage disposals for kitchen scraps. And I didn't know that these were a problem until doing my research. And I found on nature.org that the problem with garbage disposals is they waste clean water to flush all that organic matter down the drain. Then it takes more water and energy to filter that solid waste out at a water treatment facility. And from there, that solid waste is sent to a landfill. So it turns out that garbage disposals pollute water and they're incredibly inefficient. So we're probably realizing that these conventional methods are no good. So let's focus on what works, and that's composting. So composting reduces methane emissions produced by landfills and lowers your carbon footprint, according to the EPA. Lawn clippings, weeds, dead leaves, all of that stuff can be composted instead of burned. That's better for air quality, and it's good for soil. Composting also saves organic materials from polluting water. You'll use less water-polluting garbage disposals, and it saves water because you won't contribute to landfills that have dangerous water runoff. And there's some added benefits to composting. The EPA suggests that composting enriches soil, it helps soil maintain moisture, suppresses plant diseases and pests, and also composting reduces the need for chemical fertilizers and purchased compost that comes in wasteful plastic bags. Those cost money. Composting is free. Also, it's really easy to access a compost bin. You can go to a hardware store and buy a barrel that's already made, throw the food scraps in and give it a spin. And also, many websites have do-it-yourself instructions for making your own compost bin. And I even found instructions for making indoor bins, which means anyone can compost. Even if you live in a high-rise in Manhattan, you can have an indoor bin. And to make an outdoor bin, you could just Google how to compost, and you'll get so many websites with tutorials and videos on how to build and what can go in your compost bin. So finally, you now know that composting is easy and it's so good for the environment. So save the environment by no longer throwing away or burning organic matter. Compost instead for richer soil and a smaller carbon footprint.